Ha 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 ha. Oh. Hello. Hi. Very loud in my ear right now, so I gotta turn this down just a smidgen of pigeon. Alright. It's okay. It's gonna be alright. This is gonna be a short show anyway, so good evening and welcome to the Paul Report. I am your gracious host, Paul Kravitz. That's me. Here, where am I? There I am. Hello, me. All right, let's see. We have Michelle. Hello, Michelle. We have Juanita. Welcome back, Juanita. We have the lovely bride, Jennifer. Hello. We have Wendy tonight. Thank you for joining us, one and all. This is, again, going to be a short show, and I'll explain why. Well, too much to explain. Let me sum up. Yeah, so I did have a partial show set up for tonight, but then a little later I'll go into the whole whys and stuff, why tonight's show is being cut short. But what's been dominating the news today is the anniversary of the Capitol riots that left our Capitol building bruised and battered. Six people died. There were many injuries. And once again, there was something else to further fracture this once great nation of ours. It truly does baffle the logical mind how there were many people on January 6th condemning the actions of the then President Donald Trump. And then the very next day, they're right back to trying to grab a hold of the micro mushroom and take care of his needs. It wasn't just to his ego they were trying to stroke. And I truly believe that this thing, this ignoring the fact that something happened by way of calling it a bunch of tourists going through the building, whether it be through the door or the window. They're tourists. What are you going to do? I think all of this has gone on way too long, and I truly think that there was a great piece I read in the New York Times today talking about, that we're probably a few breaths away from another civil war. At some point over the next several years, the Republicans will regain control of one or both branches of the Congress, and that might be a very sad day. They're already trying to put in place things like voter suppression, making it harder for people of color, minorities, senior citizens from getting to vote. They're already putting stuff in place after the 2020 election. Who knows where it's going to stop? I don't know, but I mean, is it going to take another civil war to right this ship, or will it just be the death of, we'll finally have something after the dash, after 1776, dash 20, whatever. It's a very foreseeable future. And, I'm not ready to hightail it out of this country yet, but if something like that happens, I'm headed for the border. I'll learn to speak Spanish, or I'll learn to speak Canadian. Yeah. And I'm sorry I'm not full of energy. I normally am very full of energy for my show, but I'm just feeling kind of down. I saw that there was President Biden on the air today taking full jabs at Donald Trump, where he's resisted doing it over the last year for the most part. But today he came out swinging. I say it's about time. How this man controls a party. The question I have is, how and when did the Republican Party lose its soul? I mean, it truly is time to make the spray tan Don be held responsible for his actions and lack of actions regarding last year's events from a year ago today. It's high time. And for whiny, pissy bitches like Lindsey Graham or Matt Gaetz or um, the stylings of Marjorie Taylor Greene, they need to be held responsible and taken out at the kneecaps for the most part. Whether you take that figuratively or physically, that's up to you. I think it's a lot of just bullshit going on right now with how things are going, and it's freaking frightening. It's frightening for me. It's frightening for people of color. It's frightening for minorities, seniors. It's frightening for everyday people who are, looking to build a better world for their children, like this guy, like a lot of people, but yet we're getting cut off at the knees at every turn, and it's all because of this cult of personality known as Donald Trump. And I've laid off this guy for a very long time, but on a day like today, it was kind of easy to fall back in the, put his feet to the fire and his face to the flame, and watch his skin melt from all the orange spray tan that he puts on, and just. I mean, I, for one, am very thankful I don't have to when I turn the TV on, I don't have to hear something stupid that he said. And I got into a discussion, not an argument, a discussion with someone at bowling the other day who I found out was who supported Trump. And it was very, interesting to hear this gentleman talk about him and just feel that he's missing part of the picture. He sees only the good that he's done. People can argue that he did good during his presidency. I can argue that he did less good, maybe some good during his presidency, but not as much as what people think. Yeah. So anyway, on this day, January 6th, I think it's important to remember that just because they say it enough times, it'll never make it true. To the people who have the ability to separate fact from fiction, and those people who are so ingrained up the Trumpian ass of life, I only hope one day that they have the epiphany and they realize that this guy is not their savior. This guy is going to be part of the downfall of the United States of America. And do I want that? No. Do I want this country to go on and be a beacon of freedom and democracy and goodwill towards men and blah, 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 blah? Of course I do. But the way it's going, I don't have high hopes right now. Confidence is low, Captain. Confidence is low. So yeah, that's my depressing rant for this January 6th. Coming up later, we will have the GFY Award. And I did want to break from that subject to bring something a little bit more entertaining in the entertainment world. I saw a movie this week on Netflix called Tick, Tick, Boom. It was a story of Jonathan Larson, who was the creator behind Rent, the Broadway musical smash that won Tonys, Pulitzer Prizes, lots of good things. Sadly, Jonathan Larson died the night before Rent took the stage at its first major venue. Died of an aortic aneurysm. And it was very sad. But the story was about him after he wrote a play that takes place in the future. He wrote this play called Boho something. I honestly don't remember the name, but it became a play called Tick, Tick, Boom after he died. And the movie was a presentation of that with dramatization of what he was singing about behind each song. And there was song and dancing and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of musicals per se, but I did really enjoy this film, knowing, that this guy created Rent, and having known that he died before it premiered back in 1996. It was pretty well done. It was directed by Lin-Manuel from Hamilton fame. I forget his last name. Lin-Manuel, is it? Anyone remember his last name? Lin-Manuel Noriega or something like that? I don't know. I probably knew it at one point. Information is slowly falling out of my head. Just looking at the chat. Yes, Wendy, people will see and hear whatever they want to see and hear, and it's really too bad. Hey, Bob, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated. Lin-Manuel Miranda, thank you. Noriega. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Contrabands. Yeah, it was a great movie, but going back to what Wendy said, it is very sad to see relatively normal people fall in lockstep behind this guy and just believe the big lie about the election, despite 50 plus tries in front of courts to plead their case. And I read about a judge that actually let them, for the day, plead their case with the evidence that they had, and he dismissed it because of the ridiculous lack of evidence. And all the other ones just, just laughed him out of court each and every time. So 50 plus tries and not one judge, even judges that he appointed, laughed it out of court. And yes, I do know you teach history, and it you probably have some insight on some of this too, as going back in history. I mean, you look at places like Germany back in the 1920s before Hitler came to power. That was kind of a democracy, and look what happened: a cult of personality, bing bang boom. It's a world war trying to get only the Aryan race to survive, and I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, but back to the movie. The movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. Andrew Garfield from Spider-Man fame actually did a really good job of selling this character, the character or the persona of Jonathan Larson. He really, from what I heard, he did his own singing. He just did really well, and the numbers were catchy, they were heartfelt. There's the whole, like, one of the premises of the movie is that he has to write one more song for a part of this play, and he's just going on and on and on. He's having writer's block, and his whole life is crumbling around him, and he finally comes up with this song, and it's beautiful, and it's just, it's like the payoff was well worth it, and how they filmed it was really worth it too. It really made a lot of sense. So I recommend, if you have Netflix, and I don't think anyone in this world doesn't have Netflix, watch that at some point in your life. Tick, Tick, Boom. Really, really good movie. I'm going to pause for a quick drink because I'm very thirsty. All right. Another thing I watched on Netflix was, God, what the hell is the name of that one? Inside with, oh crikey, what was his name? Bo Burnham. Inside. It was an hour and a half of this guy recording himself throughout the pandemic. He started off with a 6-month plan, turned into a year plan of doing this special as you would from his house, solely from one particular room, actually. And the start of it started off very, I'm not going to say light and fluffy, but it started off more lighthearted. But as time went on, you can see how the pandemic was wearing him down, and how, just time had its way with him, and how he just completely, just got taken down by being separated from people and going out and, taking care of things. And it really was interesting. And the funny common thread between Tick Tick Boom and the Bo Burnham special is that both of them sort of focused on turning 30. And I thought that was interesting that I just randomly picked two things on that one night, and they both had subplots of turning 30. So I thought that was interesting. So Bo Burnham Inside is another one that I believe you should watch. If you've watched them already, please place your comments in the chat. It'd be good to hear from you, and hear your thoughts on it. If you've seen something else over the last couple weeks, post it in the chat. Give suggestions to other people. The East Coast, or this area, the Northeast, is going to be hit with a snowstorm tomorrow, or tonight and tomorrow. So some people could be in the house just, with snow outside, not wanting to shovel. I know I don't want to shovel, but I may have to. So that is that. I think what I'll do is I'm going to quickly do a quick health update for this month, for January. Nah, you know what? I'll wait till next week. I have an appointment next week to get in my eye. So I'll do the health update next week. So what I'm going to do now is I believe I'll do some housekeeping first. How about that? Here we go. Where am I? There I am. You want to be a guest on the show? You got to comment. You got to... Oy vey, I can't even read tonight. You got a GFY nomination? Email me at thepaulreport@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook at The Paul Report. Where to watch this show? Live Thursday nights, 9 p.m. You won't be able to find me on the Apple Podcast anymore because the site that I use to host has gone belly up. I got an email the other day, and they said that they were rejecting my payment for the month of January, and I went out to the site, and it doesn't exist anymore. A friend of mine called them. Lines are disconnected. So at this point, I have nowhere to host my what do you call this thing? Show, except for on YouTube. YouTube is the only place you can watch these, and maybe for now I'll leave them on Facebook because I got nowhere else to put. So here in Facebook and YouTube, that's the only place you can see my show right now. I'll post a link somewhere for YouTube. Just look up The Paul Space Report, and you should be able to find it. All right, I'm going to do the GFY award. This will just take a couple minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about the reason for my mood today. All right, check it. All right, welcome back. The Paul Report GFY Award is brought to you by the letters F and U. Okay. This week, I made the decision, again, trying to steer away from politics for this award because it's an easy target. So I tried to bring up other worthy candidates outside of the world of politics, again, because it's too easy to pick on a politician because they're always doing stupid stuff. But I've decided that every year, at least for this year and most likely next year, I am going to rename the award, the GFY Award, for the first show of January in dishonor of former president who lost the election, Donald J. Trump. Matt Gaetz, Tom Cruise, yeah. What the hell's his name? Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham. Did I say Marjorie Taylor Greene already? I think I did. Her, and anyone else who voted to disrupt the election the night that they returned to the Capitol to finish the Electoral College vote. All of them will get this award each and every year that they're in public service. On the first show of January each year, I'm doing this show. So to all of them, I present to you in dishonor the GFY Award for January 6th, 2022. Okay, so let's see. How come that stopped? Interesting. All right, I'm going to get rid of that. That should have been playing the whole time like this. And I don't know why. All right, well, that's fine. Whatever. I'll just go to this one. Here we go. Hello again. All right, so I don't mean to be a bummer. I don't mean to be, but I want to honor a friend tonight. This is someone who my friend Homer out on the West Coast. I met him at a job that I just went to back in 1993. And I was working a second shift job, didn't know anybody at this town, in the town I was living, because I just moved there for this job. And Homer was one of the first people, if not the first person, to kind of say, "Hey, loser, you got any friends?" And I said, "Not down here, I don't." And, "Well, where you from?" I said, "Well, I'm from Boston originally, but I was living up in Bellingham for the last 8 months." He's like, "Well, I'm sorry, was it 93? Yeah, 93. Yes, 93. He says, "Well, I'd like to have you over for dinner, And I remember saying, "Are you a cannibal, just by any chance? Just want to find that out off the bat so I know if I need to tenderize or anything." And he's like, "No, not a cannibal. My wife makes a mean Italian dinner." And I said, "Okay, that's cool. Thanks." So I went over, had some, I think it was spaghetti. Maybe a little chicken, fantastic sauce or ragu. And thus began a wonderful friendship with Homer and his wife, Lori. And throughout my time there in Seattle, Homer was like my go-to guy. We had we have a great friendship, and we have a lot of respect and love for each other. When I was living there, I had no one to spend Thanksgiving with. He invited me over to go spend time with his wife's family. We had a ball. I haven't laughed so hard on Thanksgiving, and coming from where I come from, laughing on Thanksgiving is hardly a thing. It's usually, "You suck, I hate you, shut up, get out of here," kind of like that. But had a great Thanksgiving, had a couple Thanksgivings with them and Lori's family, and just great people, lots of fun, just to hang over their house, do barbecues. Homer had a key to my house just in case, I happened to go missing for a few days. Homer also was in on one of the biggest pranks of my life. My mother and her husband were coming to visit, and my mother, a few times in her life, has asked me if I was gay. And the first time I was like, ha ha ha, not, ha ha ha, no, not gay. Second time she asked me, I was a little bit more offended. So I figured, now that I'm living in Seattle and Homer is my bestest of besties, I put him in a position to go along with this joke with me. And the joke was that when my mother and her husband Joe came over, I would call Homer over, and I just said, just follow my lead. Just follow my lead. So Homer comes into the house, my house, and my mother's sitting there and Joe's sitting there. And I said, Ma, I would like to introduce you to Homer. And at that moment, I kind of grabbed his hand very lovingly, and I kind of pulled it up to my chest, and I turned and gave him a kiss on the cheek. And the look on my mother's face was priceless. It was like, it's exactly what I hoped for. And I told her, I said, Homer and I have decided to spend our lives together. He's going to get a divorce from his wife, and he's going to move in here with me. So just so you know, that, Homer and I are, so after her mouth stopped hitting the floor, I told her, now, aren't you glad that I'm straight? Aren't you glad that I'm straight? I mean, I would do anything to be with Homer, but aren't you glad that I'm straight? And I said, don't ever ask me again. Don't ever ask me again. So anyway, we had a lot of fun with that. And then, again, through the course of my 5 years there, Homer and I were bestie friends. Then I decided to move back home, and it really did break my heart to leave Homer and Laurie, because they really were just the best people you could know. They loved each other very much. They loved their family. Very, very honest. She loved her religion. She just was a member of the community. She was fantastic. And despite the fact that she had a horrible blood disorder, she just fought it tooth and nail. And every time she was down, she got right back up, and she would keep on living her life. She traveled all over the country, all over the world, and just nothing would stop this woman. So Homer and Laurie came to my first wedding in 2002, and it was great to see them, and we got to spend some time with them and go out and hang and stuff, and it was fantastic. And then I didn't see Homer and Laurie again until my honeymoon of the second wedding. We went out to Seattle and spent time. We spent, several hours with them both, just hanging out at their house and talking, and it was fantastic. And last year, we actually talked about maybe doing a vacation together once this world sort of straightens up and flies right. So that's where we left it. That was probably last summer. So I get a call from Homer today, and he called me on the Alexa, and I had no idea how to open or start the call on that device. So the phone call ended, and I didn't get to it. So I called him right back, and I kind of started off with, gosh, I'm sorry I missed your call. If I had any idea how to open this, I would have answered the call. And he says, well, I didn't know if you heard, but Laurie passed on January 1st. And all of a sudden, all the color went out of my face. My breath was gone. And I was just stunned, just completely and utterly stunned and knocked over. I'm fighting back tears, talking to Homer, trying to, find out what happened, checking in with him, his son, her sister, her father, just trying to, I know it's only a few days afterwards, so I don't expect them to be all happy and joyous, but I did a lot, sometimes people themselves get sick when they get bad news. I just want to make sure everyone was holding it together. And I fucking hate the fact that COVID is still a thing, because I would have jumped on a plane tonight and flown out there had the world been normal. And it pisses me off that I can't do that. I know people are flying all the time. People on this show have flown in the time of COVID, but I'm at a higher risk because of my because of my ailments that ail me on a genetic level. Um, so I can't really fly in these times. So it just floored me, and I just was so lost. For a good hour, I was walking around in a fog. I remember telling Jen. Jen had the pleasure of meeting Laurie when we were out there on a honeymoon, and she knew how important that Homer and Laurie are to me, and how just I remember not hearing their voices for a long time, and then one day I called. I just took a chance and called them on the Alexa device and left a message for them. And then, like a few days later, there was a light flashing on the Alexa device, and it was a message from those two. And I, no word of a lie, like like in Scrooged when Bill Murray just starts doing that crying thing over his mother, and he's like, Niagara Falls, Frankie, whatever, Frankie Angel. That was me. Just by hearing their voice, I was in tears because I just hadn't talked to them in such a long time. You know, timing just never, we never could figure out a time to talk or whatever. And it just was, life went on. So it was good to go out and see them. It was good to talk to them. Um, so I mean, I'm heartbroken. I'm saddened. I'm sad for Homer that the love of his life is no longer with him, at least physically. Um, she was badass. She was a fighter, and she had this rare blood disease, and I forget the name of it. It was written down somewhere. Um, but she battled that so many times. She was in a hospital so many times, and um, just really fought back every single time. And it's just utterly sad. It's it's like I always thought that, and this may be a horrible thing to say, but I'd never believed that Laurie would be like the first one to go. I thought, you know, with through no fault of Homer's, I just figured he was an older gentleman, you know, in 30 years from now when he's like 110, you know, then he could certainly go. But I never, I thought that Laurie would just like keep fighting back and keep fighting back and keep fighting back. So, you know, so he called me at like 10 minutes to 5 today. Yeah, about 10 minutes to 5, maybe a little later, maybe like 5 of. But I just, from that moment to now, I'm just still in a state of shock. And um, I was going to post their GoFundMe to help with the funeral expenses, but, you know, just maybe if you have a few thoughts that you can give to someone you never met before, but just on my recommendation, just hold Lori in your thoughts from just a few minutes tonight. Just something, if that's what you believe in. If you don't believe in that, I can respect that. I'm not a huge religious person. I'm not a man who prays, but I do hold people in my thoughts when things happen to them or things happen to people that they know. So, yeah. So if you could, that'd be great. If you don't, I won't know. I won't know either way, and that's okay. I have no problem with not knowing. Um, yeah. So, uh, yeah. It just, you know, it like I mentioned before that, you know, her and Homer took me in a sense, you know, to make sure that I wasn't alone during certain times of the year, and it, you know, there are still so many good people out there, still so many good people, and just the climate of this country is just ruining it for them because, you know, people just want to do good. Well, not just want to do good, but people want to do good and they want to do the right thing. And there's this whole section of people that just don't want to. They just don't want to do right by their fellow man, woman, human being. Sad. Truly, truly sad. Um, I wish I had something to lighten the mood. But I don't. But what I will do is I am going to do a quick promo thing. Excuse me. And then we'll be right back. You're watching the Paul Report right here on Facebook Live and YouTube, possibly. Wah, wah. All right, let's see. Dun, 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 dun.
Hi, my name is Janice, and you're listening to The Paul Report. Good choice.
Hi, I'm Sarah Kravitz. You're listening to The Paul Report. Good luck. Hope you have a good day.
You're listening to The Paul Report, and that's on you.
You can listen to Radio Irregardless with Mark Scalia. It's your non-standard blend of irrespective and regardless. It's a hodgepodge of who knows who and who knows what. Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Radio Irregardless with Mark Scalia.
All right. Just had to get Mark's new promo out because he did take the time to record it and send it to me, so I owed him the courtesy of playing it. So, all right, folks. I don't have a lot more to offer you. So I will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. So for all the people here, I did see my mother did come in, and I saw Bob, I saw Andre, and thank you all for your condolences. And did I miss anybody else? Nope, I got everybody. So thank you all. I do appreciate it. And if you have a chance, if you do see any of my advertisements for this show, if you feel confident enough, if you want to share them out, that would be great. This show does air publicly on my page, so anyone clicking the link in the whatever I send out will be able to watch the show. You do not need to be a friend of mine to view this show. So if I send something out, please feel free to share it. And if you wanted to say something nice about the show, that would be great too. If you wanted to. I'm not saying anything. So, all right, everyone. Thanks again for humoring me this evening by stopping by. I wish you a great week. Good tidings. Happy New Year to everybody. I appreciate every one of you who's here now, who has been here in the past, who will watch us in the future. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Get boosted if you need to. And thank you for watching the Paul Report. Oh yeah, be safe in the snow tomorrow if you're up in this area. Be safe. Don't hurt yourself shoveling. Small scoops, small tosses. Bend at the knees. Make sure you're supplied up with the milk, the butter. What is it? Loaf of bread, stick of butter, gallon of milk. That's what you need. Stick of butter, loaf of bread, gallon of milk. You also need hot chocolate and English muffins, because that is the official food of snowstorms. The English muffin and hot cocoa. Marshmallow is optional. You're just going to have hot chocolate and English muffins. You got to put butter on the English muffins, not cream cheese, not jelly, butter. Pure butter. Not that parquet stuff or whatever. English muffins with butter. Real butter. Go out and get some Kerrygold Irish butter. Okay? Candy canes as well. You could put a candy cane in your hot chocolate. But if you just have the candy cane and English muffin, wrong. Okay? English muffin and hot cocoa. All right? There you go. That works, Wendy. That works. What else? We need I wish I still had an open radiator. Back in the house I grew up in, we had this huge, like, cast iron, whatever, radiator that had a cover over it. And what we would do is we open the cover and we put our gloves on, like, this great thing, and it would warm up. It would warm the gloves, like, instantly. Not instantly, but it would warm it up so they'd be good to go the next time you go outside. We had 2 little front yards. We'd make little forts in there. We had a side street. We'd do, like, King of the Mountain. I miss being a freaking kid sometimes in the snow. Now I'm just like an old Jewish man. I don't want to shovel this driveway. Damn it. I should move down to Boca and get on with my life. So I'm just practicing for next year when I officially become an old Jewish guy. All right. I've yapped long enough. Be well, everybody. Take care. Stay warm. Bye-bye.